Class. All right. So welcome again to the 9th session of BW4HANA training. The main class has started now. We just ended the pre-class Q&A. And today what we are going to see is we are going to complete the remaining part of ODQ, Operational Delta Q and Delta Concept. And we will also start the CDS views. We'll introduce the CDS views today. And we will see how CDS views are created and how they are replicated in BW side. Okay, so let me make sure we have enough participants. Okay, yeah, we have. Okay, so let's jump back to system. So here we were trying to deal with this DTP. So we already cleaned the ODQ mon. So let's quickly look at the ODQ mon to make sure that the header 2LS11 VAHDR is no longer there. We'll try to run this DTP. We were facing an error in this DTP due to process chain with streaming mode enabled for this. So if we face that same error again, then I'll try to create a new fresh flow for you. Okay, so let's see what is there in ODQ mon. So new session for S4HANA system, and there we'll say ODQ mon. Let me make sure. So the request selection is subscriptions only, delta N in it. 2LS11 VAHDR is there, but the queue is inactive. Okay. So what we'll do is we will just filter the active queues. Active queues means the subscription is active for that. Okay. So you'll see 2LS11 VHDR is not there. So now we don't have any subscription, active subscription for 11 VHDR. So now I'll go to BW system. Okay, in BW, let's again try this SAP HANA Optimized Business Content. We have this 3 folders: staging, integrated data warehousing, virtual, LSA++ layers. The first layer is staging 1. We have the ADSOs under that. And then we will try to see the header 2LS11 VHDR. This is the staging ADSO. So let me make sure if there is any data in this ADSO. So right click on this. Again, for data preview, there are 2 options. Data preview, which is a BEX query like view in the Eclipse editor itself. Or you can say display reporting view data, which is going to be asking you for an ABAP project for BW4HANA. Why ABAP project? Because now we are jumping to a table. A view. That view is the view number 7. And whenever we are dealing with tables and views, it's going to ask you for an ABAP project for BW4HANA. So I'll quickly log into that. So make sure if you want to use data preview from tables, views, etc., then you should have 2 projects added. One is of type BW project and one is of type ABAP project, both for the BW system. Okay, but for S4, you just need an ABAP for this particular training. S4 can also have BW, which is embedded BW, but right now we are not dealing with that. Okay, so you can see that table number, the view number 7 has been accessed and there is no data. So we have a clean start. Now what we'll do is we'll go to this DTP, which is a Delta DTP. Yeah, it is a Delta DTP. And we will run it. So for running it, you just start in background. Okay, execute in background. Do you really want to execute DTP in the background? Yes, you can execute, or you can say execute an open monitor. Open monitor means it will jump to, it should jump to a cockpit, BW4HANA cockpit. The monitoring of DTP is embedded in the cockpit. What happened? So this is my cockpit, but it did not jump to cockpit. So there is some problem. Let me see the last request. What is the status of the last request? Whether it actually got triggered or not, we'll see from here. Excuse me. Because usually when you say execute in background and it says execute and open monitor, it should open your cockpit, but I think there is some issue with this DTP. Yeah, it's not coming up. So that means maybe the request is stuck in yellow. Okay, so let's do this. Remember the T code I showed you to check the yellow request? Let's check there. What was the T code? Devi, do you remember the T code?
RS underscore monitor.
Correct. RSPM.
RSPM.
PM stands for process monitor. Yeah. RSPM underscore monitor.
Monitor.
Okay. So same data target. Today, we'll see today. No, there are no yellow requests. So why is this not coming up? This is for deletion. This is for loading. No, I don't see any other request here. And the DTP monitor is not showing up. Okay. Let's not use this DTP. I think there is some issue with this DTP. I think there is some streaming process activated for this, which is causing this problem. My guess is that. So we'll do this. We'll create a fresh flow. Okay. That way I can also show you how to create a fresh flow. Anyways, we are going to create that while we are doing the BW modeling, but let's create a fresh flow. So the way you create a fresh flow from 2LIS 11V HDR is, what is the first step we do for BW? We replicate the data source. Although it is already replicated in BW, but I'm going to show you again how to replicate. So there are two ways to replicate a data source. So once the data source is active in your source, which is S4HANA or ECC, you will go to the data source tree and expand the data source tree. Then we have to choose what type of source system the data source belongs to. So in our case, it is ABAP CDS views. No, it is not ABAP CDS view, it is SAP extractors. Okay, so because we are dealing with the standard extractors. So you see here, already a source system has been added for S4HANA. And if you expand that, we have SAP S4HANA and nodes not connected. And here you will see that all the data sources will be there. Now, what you can do is, either you can right click here and you can say replicate. Okay, right click on the source system and you can say replicate, which will replicate all the, it will collect all the data sources from whatever data source is active in S4HANA. And it will ask you whether you want to replicate all of them together. Okay, that's one way. See, it gave you a list, right? The entire list is here. So when the entire list is here, this is like you want to replicate or not. You can deselect display data source or you can select display data source. So 102 data sources were found as active in the source system and you can replicate all of them. This means that the version is not matching. Okay, so if you have already replicated in your target and if the version does not match, then it will show you this particular functionality that version does not match, and the red ones are, I think, for the overwrite, if you want to overwrite it or not. Okay, so this is for creation. So if the data source is not there, it's going to create it. If data source is there, then it's going to check the version and it will say that version is not matching. And I think red one is for I think it's checking for some compatibility and it's giving you an error saying that this might not replicate successfully. So this is okay. This version is matching. The version does not match. And the red one is for the overwrite, I think. So this is one way. First way, you can see that whether all of the data source. Yes, sorry.
Sorry for interrupting. So I had, I mean, I use the same system. And VC HDR and VC item, VD item and VC, both I have enabled. So initially when I started replicating, I got the same symbol, but once I replicated, it has gone and it was green.
Green meaning the version matches, that one.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I don't know what does that mean, but it was successful. I felt this was like failure and successful kind of thing.
No, it's not failure. It's not failure. It's basically, I think it is saying that you want to overwrite the previous one or not. I'm not sure on the red one. I have to check.
Replication wise.
One second. Create, delete. I think this is for delete, update equal, update compatible. Incompatible. I think that is for the incompatibility, right? So
Yes.
update equal means that yes, the version is exactly the same, so there is no change. Update compatible and update incompatible. Meaning that if it is red, that means that you cannot update the same data source which is already there. You might have to delete it, and then it will replicate again, which is an incompatible version. Okay, and create is the create. So we have 59 as create. We have 7 as update equal. Okay, I'll remove this. So 7 has update equal, which is the same version in our target. Then you have update compatible. That means the version is not same, but it is compatible. That means it's going to override the version which is there in BW. And incompatible means that the version is not compatible. Yeah, that is the symbol means. So for us, which is 12is11VHDR, okay, it says that the update is incompatible. 12is11VHDR, whatever we have there, and the version here, update is incompatible. That means it's not going to update, it's going to delete the particular data source in target, and it's going to re-replicate the data source. Okay, so that's what it means. That is one way. You can do it from here. You can check that particular data source and do it. The other way is you can go to, press Ctrl 6. You can go to the transaction code RSDS, which is the preferred way previously also. So go to RSDS transaction code. There you can give that particular data source to S09VHDR and select your source system. Your source system is S4HANA. So where is our S4HANA system? So this is ODP CDS, no. ODP ABAP, no. Where is my S4HANA system?
ODP SAPI.
This one. ODP SAPI. ODP SAPI means your SAP extractors. So this is your S4HANA system, which is S4HANA. There you can say menu, data source, and replicate. Okay, that's another way. So anything is possible. If you want to do multiple data sources in one shot, use that, right click on the source system and replicate. If you want to do single data source, then this is preferred way. You can directly come here, provide the name of data source, the source system, and replicate the data source. So we'll do the replication. Okay, so it's saying the data source modification. So it's gonna select it for update. Action is update for both S4HANA and 12is11VHDR for both ODP. Okay, this is for source system and data source. So I'll say okay. And it is activating the dictionary objects. That means in the backend, all the tables, the configuration tables and everything. It is checking the DTP, checking the transformation, if there is any impacted transformation DTP, etc. for that. And it says data source replicated successfully. So our data source is active and replicated. Okay. Now, if you want to find the data source, then you can just do a Control H and you can find your data. So this is a BW object. You can find it because it is replicated in BW. Okay, let's see if it finds in BW. Okay, so there is our data source. So this is all the DTPs, etc. connected to the 11VHDR. Info source is there, transformation it will show, and this is your data source. So double click on this. It's going to take you to the data source on the left hand side tree also. So there you go. This is our data source. Okay, so you can see here in the definition of data source, these are the extraction is from the operational data provided to S09VHDR. ODP context is extractor. Okay, Then we have additive override delta. So this is the delta functionality of this data source. You cannot change the properties because it is a standard extractor. So it will give additive or override. That means it is ABR, after, before and reverse image, and you can choose it to load it to a cube or to a ADSO. It's fine. And then we have these fields. This is the entire field list for the data source. Now there are two new fields for ODP. SAP has introduced two new fields which are automatically added for the ODP based data sources. What are the two new fields? ODQ change mode and ODQ entity counter. So these are two new fields which we should be aware of, where the combination of these two fields basically identifies the record mode in the target. So if you don't have record mode coming from the data source, you will have these two, ODQ change mode and ODQ entity counter, which together as a combination will define what record mode it should be in the target. So you should be aware of this, and I'll tell you the details about these two in a moment. But just for now, let's complete the flow and then we'll see the details of these two particular fields. So we have the 11V HDR. Okay, it's there, it is active. Now we will create a flow from this data source. So in the previous BW world, how we used to create the flow is, we used to right click on the info area and we used to first create an info cube or ADSO or a DSO. Then we used to create a transformation, and during that transformation we used to give source as the data source and target as our ADSO, DSO or cube. Right? If there's an info source, yes, we will give the target as info source. Then we have to create two transformations, so on and so forth. But in BW4HANA, that paradigm of development has changed. You will no longer, you no longer need to go to the info area, right click and create again and again and again. Okay, there is one very easy to use and user intuitive place where you will do all your modeling, and that is called DFM, data flow modeler. Okay, data flow modeler is your single place for modeling in BW4HANA. You don't need to navigate to anywhere else. You don't need to navigate to any info area multiple times. You don't need to right click on several different places to create the entire flow. You can visualize the entire flow and you can create the entire flow via DFM, data flow modeler. And how you access the data flow modeler? You can access it from any info provider, including data sources as well. So in my case, it is a data source. So I will right click on the data source and I will click on explore data flow. Explore data flow will call the DFM, data flow modeler. So when you click on this, you will see that there is a new screen which will open up, and this is basically the data flow modeler shown to you on this particular data source. So it will start with the source system of the data source, and then it will show you the data source, actual data source. So I will bring it here. Now I can create all my flow from this data flow modeler itself. So on the right hand side, you will see we have the palette, right? And in the palette, we have BW object types, we have composite provider, OpenODSU, AG level for planning, data store objects, advanced ADSO, info object, open up destination, info source, and data source. So now if I want to create the flow from here, what I'll do is I will drag in the ADSO. So if I suppose my target is an ADSO. So now I'll write the name as ZD_SDHDR2. Okay, I'll hit enter. So this data source, this ADSO node is created. Now I'm going to connect this. Okay, I'm going to connect this with my ADSO. So how you connect it is just click on this node, the top gray bar, and then you drag in and you just connect it. Okay, and then what you have to do is you have to activate Control F3. First we'll save it, Control S, and then okay. So now it's asking for an info area for the data flow object. Now, this is not the ADSO which I am creating right now. I have created the flow right now, not the actual ADSO. ADSO is not created, only the node for the ADSO is created. And now it's asking me to save my data flow object. That means this particular flow as a diagram, do you want to save it or not? That is what is called a data flow object. Don't confuse data flow object as an actual ADSO or composite provider. This is just another object type which is a blueprint for your data flow. So if you want to save this complete blueprint as a separate object, then you can save it as a data flow object. So let's save it for our testing. So info area is ZDEB, which is the primary info area which I am using. Okay, let me make sure it is there. Yeah, so it is there, ZDEB. And then name I'll give Z data flow SD HDR2. Okay, data flow for sales header. And you can finish. And you will see that a data flow with the name ZDF SD HDR2 will be created under my particular info area, ZDebanshu, under data flow object. There is a separate folder for data flow object. So this is a new type of an object in BW4HANA. In BW4HANA, you can save the entire flow as a separate object, and this is a transportable object. You can transport it as well. Okay. So it's a T logo object. So you will see here ZDF HD HDR2 is created. It is not activated. That's why you will see this red symbol. And then you can say Control F3 to activate it. So it's activating. It's saying data flow is consistent. Data flow contains the non-persistent object transformation. Data flow contains the non-persistent object ADSO. So that means this ADSO is not yet created. I have just created the flow for it. And I've just given it a name of the node. This name is of the node. When you connect your data source to a target, which is an ADSO, automatically the transformation symbol will come and the DTP symbol will come, but they will have white background. Even this DSO has a white background here. The background is white. The color of ADSO is blue. That's fine. But the background of this ADSO on this particular bar is white. If the background is white, that means it's a non-persistent object, meaning it does not exist. Okay, it is just a transient flow. If there is a non-persistent object, that data flow is called transient data flow. But if you persist that data flow and save it as an actual data flow, then it becomes an actual object. But if you have not saved that data flow, that is called a transient data flow. And transient data flow can have non-persistent objects as well and persistent objects as well. But in this case, both our ADSO and transformation and DTP are non-persistent objects. That's why the color is white. Now I'm going to create this ADSO. So how I create this ADSO? I'll right click on this and I'll say create ADSO. Now it's going to actually create my ADSO with the same name. By default, it will create with the same name. But if you want to change it, you can change it. So I don't want to add it to favorites because it's already there in my folder info area, and my info area is already part of my favorites. So I don't need to add specifically this ADSO. You can give this a name. Okay, sales header, and then the template is data source. How it came, took the template, because I already created this connection. These are called connection. These arrows are called connections, and because I already have a connection, that's why the template is already been taken as the VHDR S4HANA as the source system. So we'll click on finish. Okay. Now,
sorry, Devanshu. Like in the previous step, you added the new ADSO and all you're trying to activate, correct?
I was trying to activate the data flow, not the ADSO.
Yeah, I understood up to that steps. Like,
okay. So what's your question?
My question is like the ZD underscore SDS DR2. That is like it's not created. It's correct.
No, not yet created.
Yeah.
Now
What
I'm
is
creating it
you did
actually.
there? What is the step you did there? Like create, right click?
Right click and create ADSO. There was an option, now it is not there because it is already selected. Create advanced DSO.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, which brought me to this screen. Now by default, this ADSO is of what type? Is staging ADSO inbound queue only. But I am going to change that to standard ADSO with change log. Okay, let's do that. Why I'm doing that? Because I want to show you the option to edit the data, right? The PSF functionality. So that functionality will only come when there are two tables, inbound table and active table. So I can also do this staging with compressed data. Compressed data also means that there will be two tables, inbound table and active table. Okay, but I will explain all these details of all the types of ADSOs when we will deal in ADSOs. But for the time being, I'll switch to standard ADSO because standard ADSO we all are aware of. From the past, we have the DSO. Same functionality is there of standard DSO. Changelog is written. So I'm going to do this. And I'm going to see the details of all the fields. So this is a field-based ADSO. I have not provided or associated any info objects. These RO cancel, VBLN, ANGDT, this symbol means it's a field. It's not a info object. So I'm not using any info objects. Even this ODQ change mode, ODQ entity counter are also fields right now. Okay. Now, let's go to settings. So there are no partitioning indexing. This I'm not worried about right now. So by change log, okay. Now I'll click on Control S to save my ADSO. And then let me see if there are any errors. So if you expand the problems view, this is fine, no errors. So we are good. So we will activate it by Control F3. Yes, now it gave an error. It says DSO is not consistent, key definition missing.
Yeah, keys are missing. Right?
Yeah, why is it saying keys are missing?
They're not defined yet.
In the fields, we need to define the key.
Why do we need to define a key?
Or else
Otherwise,
it will
change
get
will.
overwritten.
Yeah.
So what if I keep it as same? Will it still say key not defined?
Because semantic keys get generated.
Okay, let me activate this one. Okay, with inbound queue only. Let's see if it gets activated.
Yes, this won't get any errors, I guess.
Why?
Yeah, because the keys are not maintained, right?
For the staging DSO,
staging area.
request ID is the key, Dibanshu.
Correct, exactly. For the staging ADSO with inbound queue only. Now don't say staging ADSO. Staging ADSO with inbound queue only, your technical key, which is your request ID, record number, and packet number, is the key. That's why you'll not face any error. The moment I change it to standard ADSO with right change log, or I put it to compressed data, where again I have active table, it will ask for key. Okay, let's do Control F3. Let's see if we can change the type from the staging ADSO to the standard ADSO. Yes, we can, and it's asking for the same key which is missing. So that means the key it is asking for here is not technical key. It is a semantic key. There are two types of keys in ADSO, similar to the DS of the past: technical key and semantic key. Semantic key is nothing but your business relevant info objects or fields, not technical fields like your data packet ID, record number ID. I'm not talking about that. Semantic key is made of actual business relevant fields like your company code, your plant, your sales document number, your material group, material type, materials. So those, the actual business info objects or fields will make up the semantic key. So here it's saying that key is missing. Why key is missing? Because active table does not have the technical fields. Active table will not have request ID, data packet ID, your record number. All those things will not be there in the active table. And that's why it's asking to provide a key for the active table. So where do we define the key? We go to details. Okay, all our fields are here. here there's an option of maintain keys. So here you'll have to maintain the semantic key, and say, for example, for this, I will just say sales document number, which is the most granular. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So sales document number is my key, and I will say okay. So now the keys are maintained, and now I'll click Control S again. I'll press Control S, okay, and then Control F3 again. Let's see if it now allows to activate. Now the keys are maintained, so it should allow. Okay. It's just a warning. See, what I did is I changed the type of the ADSO. I changed from the staging ADSO to standard ADSO. That's why it's giving you a warning saying that conversion of these types of DSO not allowed. It's a warning. Okay. It is activated. My DSO is activated. It's a warning. Warning means it allowed me, but it gave a warning. If the change is not compatible, sometimes the conversion of ADSOs are not compatible. And usually if you have data in the ADSO, then you will not be able to convert them. So if you want to convert them, then you'll have to either delete the data, clean the data from the DSO, and then do the conversion. That's one way. Or if you have data and if you want to change it, then you have to do remodeling. So automatically a remodeling request will be created for you. If there is a data and you are doing a conversion, it will not activate the data and not activate the ADSO, but it will create a remodeling rule, and it will say, please go and execute the remodeling rule. Then only you can activate this ADSO. So if you have data, then you have to do that. But if you don't have data, then it will just give you a warning and it will let you change the type. So that's what it did. It let me change the type to standard ADSO. So my standard ADSO is ready. So it is under ZDEV, ZD, SD, XDR. So it is activated. The symbol, red symbol is also gone. So now I can close and I can come back. Now when I come back to my DFM, data flow modeler, okay, I'll just make it neat here. Okay. So now if I come back, now what is the background of this node? Blue. Previously, what was the background? White. Blue background means it's now a persistent object. It's an actual object in your BW system. Now coming to transformation ATP, are they persistent or non-persistent?
Non-persistent.
Because they have a white background. Don't get confused by this number 1. 1 does not mean that there is a transformation. 1 means there is one connection you have created. There is one connection you have created, but that connection is for the transformation, and one transformation is there as a non-persistent, and there is no DTP for this particular connection. So when you do a connection, automatically one transformation will show up, but it is a non-persistent one. And DTP will not be created automatically, a non-persistent DTP. You'll have to create it specifically once a transformation is active, because DTP needs a transformation. And if there is no persistent transformation, then of course there will be no DTP. Now, what we'll do is we'll create a transformation. So you'll right click on the node and you'll say create transformation. RSDS to LIS 11 VHDR data source to your ADSO. So I'll click on that. See, everything I'm doing from my data flow modeler, I don't have to jump back and forth to any info area or anywhere else. So now it says the target is my ADSO. Yes. The source is my data source. Yes. I'll click on finish. And now it is persisting. Now it is actually persisting my transformation. Okay. So this is the transformation. It is again, the symbol is red because it's not active yet. So we have the description, target is there, source is there, runtime is HANA runtime. By default, a new transformation will be HANA runtime, but you can always switch the runtime to ABAP. So we'll deal with these runtimes when we will discuss the transformation and DTP. Then you have the group by, extraction group by. This is to basically sort and combine your incoming records in one single package. So say for example, you want all the data to be grouped by material and material group. So same material and material group data will be clubbed in one single data package and it will be sorted. So
similar like semantic group.
Exactly. Similar like semantic group of the past. And here it will also define the key fields of your error stack. This grouping will help you, or this will identify the key fields of your error stack, which was the semantic group in the past. Semantic grouping used to do two purposes. It used to solve two purposes. Same thing it does here also. Purpose number one, it acts as the key fields for your error stack. That means the error, if there are error in, say for example, material group, say material group A has 100 records and only 2 records have error. All 100 records will be put into error stack. So that kind of functionality is also achieved by this grouping. That is my purpose number one, which is defining the key fields of my DTIS. In BW4HANA, it is called DTIS, Data Transfer Intermediate Storage, which is replacement of error stack. So this will define the error, this will define the key fields of my DTIS. Second purpose is it will combine the same records of the group, like the records with the same group values, into one data packet. So it will also group that into one data packet so that it is easier for us to troubleshoot and debug if there is a problem. So those are the two purposes it used to solve, and same thing is here. This grouping is also there in DTP. Okay, DTP will also have that semantic grouping, but it is also there in transformations. Okay, in BW4HANA, that grouping is there now in two places. One is in DTP, which is the same as our prior BW versions, but it is also there in the transformation. And when you put the grouping both in transformation and DTP, it's going to take the intersection of the fields as the key field of your DTIS. So say if there are 10 fields here, but only 4 of them are there in the DTP grouping, then only 4 will identify your key fields. So that is the functionality, but we'll discuss this in detail when we'll deal with DTP and transformation. So right now I don't want to change anything. If you go to rules.
One question, Devanshu.
Yes.
So here suppose I am having 5 fields. I am choosing as a semantic group, and similarly 5 different fields I am choosing in DTP. So like there will be no intersection. So how will it respond? How will it handle that condition?
Then if you have different here and different then it will be a combination. A plus B. If there are common ones, then it will be the intersection. If there are no common ones, then it will take this plus that and it will define the key field of your DTIS.
Okay, so total 10 field it will take.
I think
as a semantic group.
Yes.
Okay.
So now the rules are 1:1. There is no special rules here. Okay. Now again, I told you that outline is one of the important views here in the Eclipse editor for BW4HANA. So say for example, there are too many rules. You want to check what kind of rules are there. Then if you go to outline, you can see that there are 37 rules total, and all of them are direct assignment rules. Okay. So outline is a very handy one. And if you want to directly jump to a particular field, say for example, I know that Kunar is one of the fields. So if I just say KUNNR here and I click here, it will directly highlight that particular field from target. So keep this outline view handy. It's going to help you a lot during your transformation rule, etc. And then when you actually want to see the rule, go to properties. In the properties view, you will see that actual rule. And you map source field, you can change the map source field rule description if you want to give, type is their assignment, source field is this. So all that thing you can change from here in the properties view. So outline view and properties view will be very useful and handy for dealing with your transformation DTPs, composite providers, etc. Okay, so rules are same 1:1. There is one technical rule. So what is that technical rule? So if you see here, one technical rule, which is a calculation for ODP, okay, for zero record mode. So zero record mode is being calculated from the 2 fields which I mentioned, ODQ entity counter and ODQ change mode. Okay. So these are the two fields which will identify the record mode. I will discuss the details in a moment. Again, I have a complete like the table, mapping table. So I will discuss that table. So don't worry about that. But just remember right now, in ODP based flow, these two fields will identify the record mode. If record mode is not coming directly, then these two fields will help you to identify the record mode. Okay, that's a technical field. All right, so what we'll do is we will quickly activate this. So we'll save it and we will activate it, the transformation. Okay, so everything is right now going to $TMP package, which is my local package. Okay, I'm not putting it into a transportable package. As you can see here from the properties, it is going into $TMP. So my transformation is active, that red symbol is gone. So I'm good now. Coming back to my data flow. Now you will see the color of my transformation changed to green. That means now it is a persistent object. So now the last thing which I have to do is DTP. So it is still white. So right click on it and it will say create DTP. You click on create DTP. It will show you the source and the target. If there are multiple source and target, it will show you and you can choose. But right now we just have one source and target. So we'll choose that and we'll say okay. And then it will come to the screen where it will say the target is my DSO, source is my data source, which is fine. Click on next. Okay. And just giving a confirmation page. So I'll click on finish. Okay, so this is the DTP. It is delta. Why it is delta? Because my data source supports delta. If my data source does not support delta, then it would have shown me only full. But right now, because my data source supports delta, so my delta is enabled, and the packet size, parallel SAP HANA execution, all that thing is automatically chosen because the runtime is HANA. So it is HANA execution, so which is fine. Extraction mode, again, we have the same data source. If you want to do any filter, so if you want to put any filters in DTP, you can do from here. This is the extraction group by field. Again, you will see the same thing here. You can put your fields here and that will define your key fields for your DTIs. Update mode will show you that delta merge is by default triggered after the DTP is completed. So which is fine. And then error processing is not activated. So we will activate the error processing later on. Again, this will all be discussed in detail when we discuss the DTP. So don't worry. And then runtime properties mean temporary storages are created. Temporary storage is not activated for HANA runtime. Okay, only for ABAP runtime this is activated. So for HANA runtime, it's not possible for us to do the temporary storage yet. Maybe in next release, it will be activated for HANA runtime also, but right now it's not. And then background processing, we have number of parallel processes, job class, so on and so forth. So we don't need to worry about that. All we need to worry about right now is that it is delta enabled. And now we will click on Control F3 to activate it. Okay, so my DTP is getting activated. Again, don't worry, DTPs, ADSOs, transformations, we'll discuss in detail everything when we will build the actual BW flow. But this is right now just to show you the ODQ delta functionality. Okay, so my data flow modeler, I'm back to data flow modeler. And now you will see the DTP color is also blue. That means the actual persistent object has been created. So this entire flow is now created successfully. Now I'm just going to quickly check whether my ADSO is empty or whether it has any records. So I'll go to Project Explorer. I'll just right click. I'll say display reporting view data. Okay, so it's clean. Okay, and our ODQ mon is also, no, not this. We'll close this. Let me open what is BW. Okay, let me open ODQ mon also just to show you in parallel. So let's open ODQ mon. Excuse me. We'll keep the ODQ mon as our first step so that I know that this is the S4HANA. And then I'll say ODQ mon. Okay, so right now I'll just click on this. The 12S11 VA HDR is there. 12S11 VHDR. Did we create this? One second. So 12S VHDR. Did you guys worked on this 12S11 VHDR? I can see an active subscription for 12S11 VHDR and the Delta subscription. So can I go ahead and end the subscription? Any issues? Anyone is working with this 11 VHDR?
No, you can do it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the subscription for this. Okay, because I want to show you the process. So we'll go inside this 12S11 VHDR and we have, yeah, we have the subscription with this. So we will delete the subscription. Okay, all associated will be deleted. Yes, I want to end the subscription. I think that DTP which we triggered, remember it was in yellow. So maybe that created a subscription, but it did not finish successfully. So let me click on refresh. Let me go back. Okay, so now it's inactive. So there is no active subscription for 11 VHDR. Okay, I'll just click on active subscriptions. Okay. Okay, so 2LS11 VHDR, there is no subscription for the Q2LS11 VHDR active subscription. Now what we'll do is, yeah, this timed out, that's fine. Now we'll go to the flow. Okay, so we'll go to our data flow and now we will right click on the DTP and you will say display DTP. There's an option now for display DTP and it's a Delta enabled DTP and we will execute this DTP. So we'll say execute in background and open, execute and open monitor. So now this should open the BW4HANA cockpit. So it jumped to the BW4HANA cockpit and the DTP monitor. Now it will show me if there are any records extracted or not. So it is still running. Okay, this means active. Let me refresh it. And this means completed. So if it's a green square box, it means it is successfully completed. If it's a yellow triangle, that means it is still running. So now the DTP is completed. How many records it brought? 55 data records it brought. And what is the processing mode for this? Will it be Delta or Delta initialization?
Delta init.
Initialize.
Where can we see that? Is there a place where I can see whether it's a Delta or a Delta init?
Manage request.
You pull down the DTP monitor.
In a header.
Correct, the header. No need to navigate to process monitor or manage request. Okay, just pull down this header and that will show you whether it's a Delta init or it's a Delta. Okay, so it is a Delta initialization flag is checked. That means by default, when you run the Delta DTP, the Delta initialization will be triggered. And will it create a subscription or not?
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
It will create a subscription. The Delta initialization creates a subscription and you can see that we have 55 records and there are no selections. Okay, so that means replication pointer is this one and the extraction of last delta is X, which is fine, which is a flag check. And now we can go back to ODQ mon. Okay, and we will refresh the ODQ mon. And now you will see 2LIS11 VHDR. There are subscription and request. This is showing 55 because the previous one it's also showing. But now if you go inside this, you will see that there is a subscription with this DTP. Okay, this is J60, J2J60. This is a subscription which is created. Okay, all the previous one, this was I think for full load. So it's no subscription and this subscription we deleted. So this is an invalid subscription. Okay. but the valid subscription is this one. And inside this one, if you go, we will see that we will have, okay, now one more thing I want to ask. This initialization will put the data in which table?
ODP underscore
Inbound
data.
Inbound? No. I'm talking about the ODQ tables. Which
ODQ
table in
data.
ODQ it will put the data in?
Underscore C.
Correct. Underscore C. So let's check that whether we got the data there or not. For full, what was the table, guys? Remember, we saw the data
ODQ
last time
data
in the full.
F.
Underscore F. Exactly. So you see in SE16, we have ODQ data underscore F, ODQ data underscore C. So initialization request goes in ODQ data underscore C. So number of entries are 5. Now I'll put the queue name. What is the queue name? 12S11 VHDR. And now I'll click on execute. And I will see the previous ones. Okay, the previous ones are still there. But the one which we created will be with the request number. And you can see that it is, if we just, sort it. This is our request 2020-08-29 13-19-00. Okay, is that the, let's see the DTP. Okay, so 2020-28-9 18-18-58. So 18-18-58 means this is basically add 5, I think 5, yeah, 5 hours, because it is in UTC, I think now. So it is showing in 13-19. 2S HDR 55, and this is the compressed data format which is stored in our ODQ data underscore C. Okay, previous initialization request will also sit here. Okay, unless you reorganize the queue, the data will still sit here and automatically it will get deleted after 31 days, because initialization request has what relevance? I think low relevance. So not 31, sorry, 10 days. So low relevance request will automatically get deleted after 10 days. And between 10 days, like within 10 days, you will still see the data in the table. Okay. But don't get confused by seeing lot of requests. See the request ID, which is 2020-08, the latest one. And that is the valid one. And that is the valid subscription also. Okay. All other subscriptions, again, you will see, because reorganization of queues has not been done. But the valid delta initialization for the new DTP will be the one which we are seeing. So if you see queue is this, subscription is this one, which is the latest one which we triggered. Let's see the DTP. Yeah, there it is, our DTP. This is the previous DTPs, the one which is there with the standard content. So you can ignore that. Subscription which we created with our DTP is this one. It goes into ODQ data C. This is the background job which got generated, and this is the initialization request, initialize delta in it, and it created a new subscription. Okay, ignore these ones.
Devanshu, what do you mean by reorganization of this ODQ?
Reorganization of ODQ means that it will clean up the initialization request. It will clean up the delta requests which are successful. It will clean up the erroneous request which is there. So it's basically a housekeeping job.
Okay, we can also do that, right?
Yeah, we can also do that. So you can go to menu, go to reorganize delta queues. Okay, that's the option. So by default, the job will be automatically scheduled with the initialization request. But if you want to manually do it, you can manually do it as well. Okay, by removing and putting it as 0, 0, 0. So everything, if you want to clean, say for example, okay, so all the data from all the 3 tables will be deleted and your queues will be cleaned. But by default, a job will automatically be scheduled. So you can see that the job is already there in the release mode. If you can, if you check that it is a daily job which is running at this particular time, and it's the planned date is next day, which is tomorrow. So already a job gets auto scheduled with the first initialization request. But if you want to manually do it, you can also do that.
Devanshu, how about the standard content subscription? You said something about the one earlier.
Yeah. This is the one earlier. This
Yeah,
is the
so-
DTP which coming from the standard content.
So that gets subscribed automatically.
No, not automatically. You have to run the DTP. So that means DTP might have run on.
But it shows today's date too, so it might be very.
Yeah.
recent.
So it might have been run today. It ran multiple times today. It got deleted. The initialization request was deleted. It was again initialized. So that's why you will see multiple requests with that DTP for the initialization. So if you say, for example, if you initialize multiple times, delete the initialization, then again do the initialization. So it will create multiple initialization requests for the same DTP.
So you had deleted this request or the subscription for this, but this still shows up here.
Yes. So subscription deletion and showing up in this one is it will still show unless you reorganize the queues. Okay. Once you end the subscription does not mean that you will see everything gone from the queues. No. Subscription is ended, but the queues will still show you data unless the queues are cleaned.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So this is the latest subscription which is created. And where did this get data from? Application tables or setup tables? Setup tables. So if you delete the data in the setup table, then it will fetch 0 records. But because our setup tables was filled, that's why it brought 55 data records. Okay. Now I'll show you something which we used to do in the PSA. So now our data is sitting in inbound table. Okay. Our data is sitting in inbound table. How you can make sure is if you can go to the manage request. Now you can click on manage request and now it will show you the details for this particular request ID and the storage is inbound table. So it is sitting in inbound table. Okay. We have 55 records. If you want to check the data, you can check the contents of this inbound table and there will be 55 records there. Okay, 55 records are there. You can see what records got loaded, so on and so forth. Now, I told you that inbound table allows you to change the data as similar to PSA. Similar to what we used to do in PSA, inbound table will allow that. But it will not allow for the ADSO with only inbound table or only one table. And also it will not allow for the data mart ADSO. So we'll see that later on. But this one is standard ADSO with inbound table and changelog table and active table. Remember the definition of the ADSO? What was the definition of the ADSO? Let's go back here. You can double click on this one. Double click on this particular node, it will open the definition. This is the standard ADSO with changelog. Standard ADSO means inbound table, active table, and you are saying that changelog is also there. So now this will allow me to change the records. And how it will allow me is on the bottom right, you can see change request data. Is that visible to everyone?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Now is it visible? Change request data. Can you see that option?
Yes, Devanshu.
Yes. Click on that. Change request data. Once you click on change request data, these fields are now editable fields. Everything is now editable. All the fields will become editable and you can correct the data records if there is a failure, if there's a special character you want to remove, things like that. And then you can process it to active data tables. So this change request data will be enabled only for certain ADSOs. Okay. What are those ADSOs? We'll discuss when we'll discuss the ADSO.
Like it will allow you to change the key value also, key field value.
Like the VBLN, this one?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it will allow. Why not?
But suppose if someone changes it to like the second record also VBLN, I mean, instead of 2, it makes it 1.
Yeah, then it will fail.
The record will get, overwritten, right? So there will be a mismatch. So
of course, yeah, there will be a mismatch because the ADSO is of type override. Then it will be a mismatch. Yes, but nobody will change the key fields. It is permissible, yes, but nobody will do that. Usually in the real time, you will not do that, but it is allowing you to change key fields and non-key fields both.
Okay.
Okay, why? Because for the inbound table, this is not the key. Right now, we are dealing with only inbound table, Suresh, not active data table. So at inbound table layer, my key fields are made of packet ID, record ID, and data packet ID, request number, and record number. That's why it is for the inbound table. It does not matter what semantic you have defined. It will allow you to change everything.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And then when you activate it, then the records will be either overwritten or summed up based on what is the key figure behavior you have defined. Okay. But this is where you can change the data. Okay. So this is the functionality of the PSA of the past. In PSA, we used to change the data and then push it forward. Here also you can change the data and push it forward.
Right.
One question, in this table, do we need to go record by record, or can we, like 10 records at a time, can change with some?
You can. So you can select the records. Okay, say for example, I want to change these 5 records, and then you click on the change selected records or change all records. You can do that. And then you put the fields there. So if I say change selected records, which field you want to change, that particular value will be posted to all the 5 or 6 or 7 records. Okay. So that's possible. It's very much possible. So now I'll show you the value of change ODQ change mode and ODQ entity counter. There are 2 fields. Okay, here record mode will be identified based on these 2 fields. Now the value of field is C and it is 1. Okay, for all of them, I think for all the records will be C1. Yes. So now you should understand what is the meaning of change mode, ODQ change mode, and ODQ entity counter. So let's go back to a theory a little bit. Yeah, there. So record mode is being calculated in ODP based on change mode and entity counter. ODQ underscore change mode and ODQ underscore entity counter. So what is the relevance of these 2? First, let's discuss change mode. If the value of change mode is C, so it can have 3 values, C, U, D. Okay. C means it's a new record. That means record mode N. Whenever we load the data for the first time, guys, can you please be on mute? I am hearing some feedback, background noise. Thank you. So if the value is C, that means it signifies record mode N, which is a new record. If the value is U, the data was changed in the source, and depending on the delta procedure, delta can contain up to 2 records for 1 change record. That means if it's an ABR, it will have a minus and a plus before image and after image. If it's only overwrite, that means after image, it will have only 1 record. So those records will have U. That means it is either a before image, after image, or if it's an only after image. So change records will have U, and deleted records, if there is a deletion which happened and your data source is capable of identifying that deletion, it will send that with D as your change mode. So these are the 3 change mode values: C, U, D. C is for new, U is for change, D is for deletion. And entity counter is having the value 0, 1 or -1. Okay, entity counter will be 1, -1 or 0, and it will work in conjunction with your change mode. Meaning, if I have C and I have entity counter 1, I think C can only have 1. Record mode will be N, new image. Sorry, new image. If I have U, now within U, I can have before image and after image, right? Before image will be -1, entity counter, and after image will be +1. That means just 1 with entity counter. Both will have U as the change mode, but entity counter will be -1 or +1. This will be equivalent to your record mode X of the past and blank of the past. Then you have D for deletion. Okay, D also has 0 and -1. -1 means reverse image. Okay, and 0 with D is D, deletion, delete image, because some data sources also sends delete image instead of reverse image. So in that case, it will be D0. And if you have U0, that is your additive image. Okay, because some data sources, they send before and after, there it will be +1 and -1. And if the data source sends additive images, meaning only the delta, only the difference, say for example, the quantity was 30 and now it became 45. So this additive image will send +45. So in that case, it will be U0. So this is basically the mapping table between the change mode, entity counter combination, and respective record mode calculation. And this is a special type of transformation rule. And that rule is called ODP calculation. So if you don't have record mode coming, and if you have record mode in your target, you have to map record mode based on these two fields using the rule type ODP calculation. That's what in this transformation, if you go to the transformation, now I'll show you the transformation again. Just right click and say display transformation. Now here in the technical rules, so I had a technical rule, calculate ODP. Here you will see, I'll just go to the properties. You will see this is a special rule type, says calculation for ODP based on the source field entity counter change mode, and the target is record mode, which will be calculated. Okay, clear? Any questions on this?
So Devanshu, like arrow cancel has been removed from the alias data sources also?
No, arrow cancel is there. Arrow cancel is there. So if arrow cancel is there, then you can directly map your arrow cancel to record mode, right?
Yeah.
But the ODP based new data sources, especially what I am creating, right? A fresh data source. I'm creating a Z data source, a custom data source. There you will not have arrow cancel, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So in those scenarios, then you will have to use the ODP change mode and ODP entity counter to record mode. But if you have arrow cancel, then you can directly map arrow cancel to record mode, because arrow cancel will have these values n, x minus, x blank, etc. So you can map that.
Okay.
As well.
Devanshu, what is the difference between reverse image and delete image? Just to confuse.
This is just the data source property. Reverse image means it will send the minus value with the R. Delete means it will just send delete without any minus value, I think, and then it will be removed from your records. But reverse image will stay in your change log with a minus value, and in the active table the data will be deleted. But delete will completely delete the records without putting any trace in the change log.
So we cannot actually see the D record mode, kind of.
I mean, you will see the D record mode in the first table, which is the inbound table. But once you activate it, you will probably not see that in the change log. But reverse image is visible in the change log.
Okay. Okay.
And it says only key components have to be specified before image with a subsequent after image. Yeah, so reverse is basically before, after. It works with conjunction with R, but delete is, I don't know what it means, key components. Key component means only the key fields of your data source probably needs to be given as your, for deletion. So if say, for example, I have key as plant and material, and plant P100 and material M100. If you want to delete everything with P100 and M100, then I think you just need to provide the key fields there. Instead of individual fields, entire individual field being reversed, the complete key based records can be deleted, maybe. I'm not sure on that. But yeah, the change log visibility is there in R, and I think it's not visible in D.
Devanshu, the reason why we had these in the older versions was, can we load the data directly to a DSO or directly to a cube? That was the whole concept, right? Like, is that a complete delta image or like which can be directly put in the cube? Now that we don't have a cube, we just have an advanced DSO. Does it how does it impact this?
No, even reverse image was there for DSOs also. So DSO can handle delete, D image and R both. Usually I have seen R. I have not seen D. I think it's used very less frequently. R is used mostly for the data sources, but the delta functionality has not changed in BW4HANA. BW4HANA, the delta functionality works exactly the same. Your new image will sit with N, your X will sit with before, your blank will sit with reverse. Blank will sit with blank, after image will sit with blank, and your reverse image will have a minus. That concept has not changed. That's exactly the same. There is no impact whether it's a DSO or it's a cube, because now ADSOs, if you change the property, it behaves as a cube. If you keep it as standard, it will behave as a standard ADSO. So from a cube or DSO standpoint, that functionality is same in ADSOs also. Whether you want it to behave as a cube or whether you want it to behave as a DSO, that doesn't change. That hasn't changed.
Okay.
So don't think that because it's an ADSO, the delta functionality and the change mode, record mode has the functionality has changed. No, that is exactly the same. Only thing is now we have two new fields coming from the ODP and ODQ based data sources, which will map to your record mode. But the record mode, deletion or minus plus images, everything that is the same. That has not changed. Okay. So now we have one subscription which is there sitting with this DTP for initialization. ODQ_C is there. Now we will check. One more check I want to do is for, where is that? Okay, let me bring it here. ODQ data. So let's check that. So because I haven't run delta yet for this particular subscription. So if you go back and if you just check ODQ data, let's first check if there are values in this, and queue name, we'll give the queue name. Okay. And we will click execute. So no table entries exist for this one. Yeah, there is no table entry. Okay. So for 2LS11 VHDR, we only had initialization request. Even with the standard content, we only had initialization. We did not have any delta. That's why ODQ data does not have any data for this queue. Now what we'll do is we will run the delta. So we have the delta. We don't need to do anything special. We just run it again. So execute in background. Let's see how many records it brings.
So do we need to do twice, Devanshu?
Twice in the sense?
I mean, like one for the full load and one for the delta.
Full is different. See, if you
no,
want
I mean we are running the delta
twice.
So, twice, correct?
Correct.
One
exactly.
for the delta and one for the initialization.
One for the initialization, one for the delta. Yes.
Okay,
correct. Correct. You're right. Now, how many records it brought? 0 records. Why it brought 0 records?
There is no more data in the setup table.
No. Is it going to setup table? Where is it going? Is the delta going to setup table?
No.
ODQ, C.
V3 job should be run, I think.
Correct. V3 job has to be run, and there has to be a change. First of all, first thing is there should be a change, and then you have to push that change to delta Q, ODQs, and then the data will be populated. You got my point? So first we'll do some change. So for that change, we'll log into S4HANA news session. Let me open a new session. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go to a transaction code, which is VA02. We'll change something. So previously we saw 49 is one of the sales orders. Let me make sure 49 came in this particular request. So do we have 49? as my VBLN. Let's see. Yeah, 49 is there. VBLN 49 has come. By the way, did I activate this request? Is this request there in active table or is it request there only in inbound table? The initialization one.
Inbound.
Inbound table only. I haven't activated it. So let's first activate it. So now let me show you the value again for this. So it is C1. Now tell me, if you remember, what does C1 signify? Change mode C and ODQ counter 1. New image.
N.
Yes, and record mode will be N. Calculation of record mode will be N. Okay, so now let's go back. I'm not changing right now, but I just wanted to show you that functionality of PSA. Okay, so I'm going back and now I'm going to activate. So you see there's an option called on the right hand side, just beside the change request data, we have an activate. So you activate and then you can say activate request by request. If there are multiple requests, you can check that. Same thing as previous BW versions, it was also there, but right now just one. So I'll just click on activate. So now we have an activation running and it will say loading successful, activating successful. Don't go by the word activating. Activating means it is still activating, but that's not true. Always go by this particular status symbol, and the status symbol is green square. That means activation is successful. Okay. So now I go back to DB monitor. Now if I click on manage request, okay, now you will see that previously the storage was no, it is still inbound table. Okay, let me click on this activating request. Okay, I think because I am in the load request, that's why the storage is inbound table. So for the activation, it created another request, right? So you can jump to that request from here. So all the request IDs, DTPs, etc. you can see from here. This is a load request, which is 2020, 28, 29, 8, 18. And 2020, 8, 29, 8, 47 is my activation request. So let me go to activation request. There the storage should say active table. Yeah, the storage is saying active data table. And there you can again check the contents from here also, active data table, that what went in the active data table. And there, what is the record mode which got calculated? N as our record mode. Okay. So our data is active now. So let me close this. DTP brought 0 records. Okay. Now let me first make sure that my ADSO has data. So I will just right click on this and I will say display reporting view data. Okay, so I have 55 records with record mode N. Request ID is there. Request ID is 0. Why request ID is 0? Why I can't see any request IDs?
It should be in the change log.
Yes. So this view number 7, which I am accessing, okay, SDHDR27. This is what kind of view? Is it reporting view or is it loading view?
Reporting.
So you will see here, you go to DDIC. The view number 7 is reporting view. Okay, reporting view means it will take data from active table. In this case, the standard ADSO, it will take data from active table, and that's why it is showing request ID 0, because active table does not have request IDs. So we have this data. Now I want to filter on my VBLN 49 because that's what we'll change. So I'll quickly do 49. So we'll say 49. We'll click on OK. So 49 has data. Record mode is N. All this data is there. Okay. Now we'll do some change. What we'll do is we'll change this AAU GRU. Okay. Yeah, tell me.
Before doing this change, in BW4HANA 1.0, when we run the DTP, does it not go automatically to the BW4HANA cockpit? Means I see like all this manage and everything comes into the same like in this Eclipse. So is that the means I'm doing something wrong, or should it go automatically to BW4HANA cockpit?
BW4, you are in BW4HANA 1.0 and you are not, it's not jumping automatically to cockpit?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so there might be a default behavior change. So there can be two things. One is that BW4HANA 1.0, the default behavior is still not changed to cockpit, but I doubt that, because I think starting with BW4HANA 1.0 itself, it should jump to your cockpit. The second possibility is your cockpit might not be activated or configured properly. Did you check that? Is your cockpit activated successfully?
I have not checked that.
Please check that, because as per my understanding, even BW4HANA 1.0 should jump to cockpit by default. But I'll check that. Maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding says that it should jump. Okay. First check the cockpit is activated successfully or not. And I already showed you how to check that in my previous classes. So please check that. If it is activated and still if it is not jumping, that means you have to give me the version number, which BW4HANA 1.0 version, and maybe we can check that did the behavior change after that version, or was it same? My understanding is it should jump to cockpit.
Okay, no problem then. Thanks.
Okay,
yeah.
Now we'll change AU GRU. Okay, guys, let's hold on to your questions. Let me first complete the flow and then you can ask your questions. So AU GRU is 007. Now AU GRU is, I think, reason code, the order reason, and we will change this AU GRU to something else, because this is header. We don't have key figures, so we'll not change key figures here. We'll just change AU GRU. If you want to check what is AU GRU, you can check from the data source itself, right? So we'll go to the data flow. We'll check what is AU GRU just to make sure. So just double click on this. It will open the data source. Go to fields and AU GRU order reason. So AU GRU is your order reason. So we'll change the order reason. So what we'll do is, where is my VS02? Yeah, 49. So we'll change order number 49. Now, where is the order reason in this? Okay, let me see. Because delivery date, delivery block, Inco version. Let's scroll down. There, order reason. So order reason is fast delivery. That means 007 belongs to fast delivery. Okay, how can you make sure of that? So we'll click on F1. Putting on the order reason, we'll click on F1. We'll go to technical fields, which will give the field name. So VBAC, it's coming from AU GRU. Okay, so what we'll do is we will check this AU GRU field in VBAP quickly. So let's open a different session for S4HANA. I just want to make sure 007 is for fast delivery. That's all. So we'll go to SE11, VBAC, sorry. Okay, we'll click on display. Okay, it opened here. So we will open with SAP GUI. Okay, the familiar look and feel. And there I want to check what is the value table for AU GRU. So you have AU GRU there. This is my data element. I'll go to the domain, and in the domain it should show me the value table, which is TVAU. Okay, so this is the order reason. So we'll check order reason 007. What is the order reason 007? How many entries are there? 24. Okay, not many. So we'll click on execute and we'll see that order reason is fast delivery. Okay, now we'll change the fast delivery to good service 008. Let's see. So we'll go to my VS02 and I'll change it to good service, which is 008. Okay, hit enter. It might logged logged off, is it? One second, guys. Maybe I have to open a new session. Okay. So now I'll click on save. Let's see if this session should be active. It might be for previous sessions, which I opened for S4. So I'm saving this with good service. Let's see if it gets saved. So I just changed the order reason from 007 to 008. Come on. Okay, it's taking some time. So I'll close this VBAC. This, we'll keep it open. VBAC. Okay, even this one I can close. Okay, so it says standard order 49 has been saved. Okay, so that means I'll just quickly check again 49 if it is reflecting successfully. Yeah, order reason is good service, so which is good. So now what we'll do is we will run the delta. So now it should pick up the delta, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
Why? Why will it not pick?
V3 job we need to run.
Correct, exactly. So let's confirm that. Okay, so it also brought 0 records. So even after we did the change, it brought 0 records. Okay, why it brought 0 records? Now the main concept of V3 job will come into picture. So now we'll go to LBWQ. First, I want to see whether the data got posted. Yes, data got posted in the extraction queue. So the change, as soon as I did the change in the sales order, the data got posted to application table, which is your VBAC, and it also got posted to the extraction queue. Remember this diagram? Previously, we discussed a diagram of the update modes. Was it here? Somewhere we discussed update modes, right? Where was that, guys? Help me remember this. ODQ update modes. Was it here?
I guess it's in S06.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. So this is the process of Q delta. And because our data source is Q delta, as soon as a transaction happens and a change happens, it goes to extraction queue with a V1 update, and it also goes to application table. So extraction queue can be viewed by LBWQ, which is my extraction queue. Now extraction queue has data, that means one entry was posted. But is my delta queue having data? Operational delta queue, does it have data? How do I check that?
ODQ data.
ODQ.
Correct. ODQ data. So ODQ data is the backend table for delta records. Correct. So here the number of entries is still 0. Okay, there is nothing. 0.
Then one question, Devanshu. What is that underscore C then?
Initialization. One second. Oh, there is data. Is my V3 job scheduled? Oh, there is data because of no, the delta will not. Delta will not. No. Delta will only fetch data in ODQ data C, ODQ C, not in ODQ data. So if I'm seeing an entry, there's an entry now for Elias and SDR. Of course, the data is there in the compressed format, so I cannot see the data, actual data records. Lines 2. Okay, so maybe when we posted, it also brought in ODQ. Okay, let me see, one second. What we'll do is, we will run the V3 job, or maybe the V3 job is already scheduled. Let's check that. So I'll go here. I'll go to LBWP. Okay.
Devanshu, did you confirm if it is there in underscore C or not yet? Or?
Underscore C will have that, but it will be initialization. You want to see whether it still has it or not?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So if you go there, it should still have the entries for the initialization with our DTP. So it still has. See, ODQ_C is for initialization, which will not be deleted unless the reorganization queue deletes it. Okay, that will still sit there. So that is still there, and ODQ data will have delta records, which will be populated by the V3 job. It should be populated by the V3 job, but it's showing data. So let me check if V3 job is already scheduled. Where did I open this? Yeah. So we have here, we are 11 VAHDR, okay, and we have our queue delta, and let's do the job control here. Okay, and we'll go to job overview. I'll just see whether any V3 job is scheduled. So LIS 11, this is the 11 one. Okay, so it is showing in released mode. That means it is scheduled. So you see 11, 11, and finished. So let me check the job from SM37. Okay, 7. We'll put this job. I want to see not ready, not active, finished, yes, cancelled, no, for today. Yeah, so it is scheduled, and what is the frequency? Every 5 minutes. Okay, so maybe what happened is, yeah, so this job ran recently. This job ran, it brought the records from the extraction queue to the operational delta queue. So if I just say start time, and if I do this, so recent run is 19:30, and what is the time right now? Sorry. Status. Yeah, 19:33. Right. So the job ran just 3 minutes back, and this job, what it did is it brought the data from the extraction queue to ODQ data. That means the delta records were posted in ODQ data by the V3 job. If V3 job would not have been scheduled, then you will not see any data in ODQ data. Only when V3 job runs, it pulls the data from extraction queue to my operational delta queue, and the operational delta queue ODQ data will be populated for that particular queue. Okay. Now if I run, so okay, let's check the extraction queue. Now it should be cleared. So this is an entry. Okay, let me go back here. So job is already scheduled. So I'll go to LBWQ, and the queue is empty. So what this job did was, this job took the data from the extraction queue, because it's every 5 minutes. What you do as your assignment, deschedule the job. Okay, don't schedule the job, do a change in VA02, and then check ODQ data and check whether the entry came or not. It will not come, and then you will run the V3 job, and then it will come to ODQ data, and you can see the entry there. Got it? Clear? Now what we'll do is we'll run the DTP, and now it should bring in records. So we'll click on this, execute in background, execute an open monitor, and it should bring us to the cockpit again. Excuse me. And now it should bring in some data, 2 records. I changed only 1 record. Why did it bring 2 records, guys? What is that additional record?
After and before image?
Exactly. Because the data is ABR, data source is ABR, delta is ABR. It brought after image and before image. So let's check the data. So we'll go to manage request. Okay. First of all, should it allow me to change this particular request or not? The data in this request, will I be able to change the data in this request or not? Question.
Yeah, we can.
Why we can? Because it is a right optimize.
It's an inbound.
Standard, yeah, it is a standard ADSO which has inbound and active table. So it will also allow this request. That means not just the initialization request, any request which you put in the ADSO of type standard with changelog, then it will allow you to edit the data. So you can see change request data on the bottom right is still active for this. And it brought 2 records. Let's check the content of those records. So you go to inbound table and contents, and we'll see that. Now tell me, okay, what will be the value of ODQ change mode and ODQ entity counter? What will be the values?
U-1 and U1.
U1 and U-1.
Let's check that. You're right. Let's check that particular table. So we have before image U-1 and after image U+1. Okay, let's see. Now I'll go here. Okay, so we will have 2 records. One is X and one is blank. Arrow cancel, because arrow cancel is directly coming from data source, but you can ignore for the time being. Let's check what is the AU-GRU value. AU-GRU value was 7, which was fast delivery, and it changed to good service, which is 008. And now we will check the value of ODQ data and this U-1, U1. Exactly. So this is my change record. Now what I will do is I will activate this. So I'll go back to manage. Okay, now in the manage data source, I have these many requests which got loaded. Activator table, inbound table, inbound table, inbound table. These are basically the request IDs where I ran the delta and it was 0 records. And this is the final request. Okay. So from here, what I'll do, actually, I'll go back to the monitor. I'll go back to my main DTP, manage request. And now I can activate this particular request and it will show me all the 3 requests which are not yet activated. Now I can either do activate request by request, which will do one by one, or if you want to club this 3 requests into 1 request, then you should not check this. But as a best practice, I always check activate request by request. Although there are 0 records, it doesn't matter now, but that's fine. Let's activate. And now we'll see the data in changelog and we'll see the active data request. Okay. So activating successful. Oh, I have a third activity, which is removing. What is that removing? Can anybody tell me that?
Removing data from inbound table.
Yes, exactly. So activation does not keep the data in inbound table for this type of ADSO. If the ADSO type is right up to, again, why I'm saying right optimize again, standard ADSO, then when you activate the data, it will remove from the inbound table and it will store it in the active data table. Okay, so that is removing is from the inbound table. So inbound table will have no records. So if you see the inbound table now, go to contents, it will show nothing, no data. Okay, and if you go to, now we will go to the active data table. This is my active data table. I'll hit on refresh. Now it should change. This is active data. Okay, so this will from 007 for 49, it should change to 008. So let me filter it again, which will probably refresh it. Yeah. So AU-GRU 008 has come in here as your reason, order reason. In the change log, how do I check the change log? If I want to check the data in the change log, how do I do that? Can someone tell me that?
From the properties.
Correct. So ADSO, click on the properties. Properties will have DDIC. DDIC will have all the tables and views. Here you can say change log, which is 3. Table number 3 is change log. Let's display the data in change log. And we will filter on the VBLN we will put it to 49. Okay. And you will see here we will have before and after images. Okay. So 7 was there and then 8 is finally the image.
Devanshu, what did you do for the removing part? Where you removed it from the inbound table? Did you do anything specific?
No, activation. Activation will automatically remove it from the inbound table.
I can't remember, but the last time we didn't do the activation when we loaded the initial records.
When we loaded initial records, no.
Okay.
No,
okay,
we did not.
Got
We
it.
did not. We did not. So we did the activation twice. First, now we did for the initialization request, which brought in the 7, and then we again activated the delta request, which brought in the 8. So in the active table, it overwrote the 7 with 8, and in the change log, you can see that there will be before image and after image, which will be 7 and then 8. So this is the now, okay. One thing we did not check. We ran the delta 3 times. 2 times with 0 records and the third time with 2 records. So how many subscriptions will be created in the ODQ Mon?
Just one.
Just one subscription, and that will be for which delta? Delta 1 or delta 2 or delta 3?
Delta 1.
So delta 1 will have a new subscription created and delta 2 will follow that subscription and delta 3 will follow that subscription. Are you saying that?
No, the same. I think it's the same subscription for init and delta.
Correct. Please remember, delta will not create any new subscription. The subscription which it will use is the initialization subscription. So if you go to ODQ Mon, let's go to ODQ Mon. Okay. And now check the subscription. So we will say 12s11 VHDR. Okay. We'll click there. And our DTP, we will filter with our DTP. Okay. Because the standard DTP, standard content DTP will also be there, which will create unnecessary confusion. So I'll filter it out. Okay, why it's taking so much time? Okay, so this is our DTP. Okay, and with this DTP, we will filter it out. So I'll filter it out with this technical name of the DTP. Okay, so we have how many subscriptions? We have only one subscription for this DTP. And within this subscription, so if you double click on this, we have several requests, which again, I think I have to filter on the DTP. So I'll filter the DTP for our new DTP and we should see only 4 requests. Okay. What are the 4 requests? 4 requests is one is for your initialization ODQ data C, 0 records delta, 0 records delta, 2 records delta. Is subscription changed? Subscription did not change. No. Subscription is the same subscription which got created by the initialization. All other deltas will use that particular subscription and will load the data. Now inside this,
in the previous screen, wasn't it showing the same subscription? Why would the standard PTP even show up as a subscription? Am I looking at this wrong? Like when you were in the, this screen here, right? So this is the subscription which shows the one ending in J16.
Yes, yes.
You're going into that, shouldn't it show just that and not anything else?
It should. You're right, 100%. But somehow when it is going into the requests, it is not cascading the filter which I have put in the subscription. Unfortunately.
Okay, but basically there is no other subscription.
No, there is no. See, okay. So that is, I think this is probably a bug in the system, or they should improve that. It should cascade this filter to the next screen also, but it is not. But the way you can identify is with the DTP ID. That's the subscription. So I had to filter here also.
Okay.
So unfortunately, unfortunately that is not cascading. But yes, don't get confused that this is not another subscription. The subscription created are only for this DTP, and that is using the same initialization subscription. So that is the concept of the initialization versus full versus your delta. Any confusions on this ODP, ODQ concept so far? Because now we are going to move on to CDS views.
I have a question on changelog table. Why it's showing 5 entries?
Oh, maybe previously we changed it to 7, and then again we changed it to 8. I saw 2 entries there. One was, okay, let me check. No, maybe it was not 7. 1 second. Let's see the changelog. There.
No, it's only 5 records.
For 49, he's saying why 5, why not 3? It should be 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what happened. So we had new record coming in, and then we had the before image, after image, and then again before image, after image. So, and request IDs are the same for this. Yes, request ID is the same.
Yeah, if you remember, Dipanshu, like you clicked twice and the screen got hang in S4 for the first,
yes.
And then you clicked on the save button second time. So that is the reason, like why these 2 changes have happened, I believe.
No, sorry, I didn't get that. Can you come again?
No, when you were making the change in S4 system for this
yes
order. So first time the screen got hanged, and then again you have to click.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Maybe that could
No,
be
I
the
think
reason.
no, you ran the no, that is not possible because referential integrity always maintains based on the value change.
Let me see if there's any value change happened with the first before and after, except for the AUGRU.
But if you see first image, it's all 0707 after before image.
Yeah.
Not 08.
No, 0707.
No, you ran the DTP twice, right? With 0 records and with 2 records.
No, 0 records will not impact. 0 records should not impact.
Because there was no new change in the in the queue, so it should not impact, right?
Yeah, 0 records will not impact. If that would have been impacted, then we would say we would see again 77 twice. It should say, right, because 0 records came in twice. So if that is the theory, then why it only did 1 before after? It should say 2 before after with same 77, and then finally our thing should come. No, that's not. I don't think that is the reason.
What is the request number change? I mean, can you?
No, request number is
same.
No, this is different, and this request is different.
Yeah, the deltas.
Yeah, because I combined, right, multiple, but I did request by request activation.
Is there a possibility like you changed something in the PSS? So you was not PSS, sorry, in the in the change table. So I mean, for that there has been 2 records.
No, I'm not. No, I was not changing in the delta. I was changing in the initialization. I was showing you. I didn't change, but I was showing that in the initialization, right? I did not show that for a delta. I don't know why it brought
one more record like 48 or something, change it to something else so that we can change.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that change quickly. Yeah,
I think it's because of it deleted that record from the active table and then put it back the new entries, because active table the flag for n is blank now. I think it's because of that. Maybe it deleted the actual record from the active table.
What? Sorry, come again.
Okay, so in active table we have the entry for 49, which is our initial full load.
Yes, correct.
So when we have a delta for this update, I think it deleted that record from the active table. And
no, active table it overwrites. Yeah, it overrode the record with AUGRU from 7 to 8.
Yeah, so is it like though, because it's overwrite or it's delete?
No, it's overwrite. It's overwrite. It's overwrite. So changelog should ideally show us only 3 records, but it is showing 5 records. So let's do that change again and quickly see that. Okay. So
Debanshu, do that arvo cancel have any impact on this record?
we'll see. Let's do that change, and it will be apparent what's happening. So we'll go to VA02 again. Let me close this. Too many windows. So this one we'll open. So all S4 ones, I'm bringing it here. Okay. Okay. So let's change this guy. So from good service, maybe we'll click to newspaper advertisement. We'll click on OK. We'll click on save. Okay, it got saved successfully. Now in MCEX, it would have brought the record. Yeah, MCEX has one. And based on the V3 job frequency, it is every 5 minutes. So what we'll do is we will run the V3 job once again. Okay. Actually, I can do it from SM37. Okay, released. I'll click on job, repeat scheduling. Immediate, I'll run it as immediate and not periodic job. Check and save. So scheduled. So it will run, it might have run, and then let's check the MCEX again. It gone from there. Yeah, it's gone. So now it might have come in already in ODQ data. Okay, check that quickly. So Q name is S09. Okay, so it came in again. The data record came in with I'm sitting in the, and it's sat in the ODQ data. That means it is the operational delta queues are populated. So now let's run the DTP.
So Devanshu, once the data is moved to BW, this will be cleaned.
Which one? ODQ data?
Yeah.
No, I think it stays there for repeat.
Okay, so that is
it
what
stays
the
there for repeat. So remember the previous delta queue also has a repeat option. Here also you can have the repeat option. So this ODQ data will not be cleaned.
Is it also the reason is because we have another subscription for this same source, and probably that is not fetch the data. That's why it's here.
No. This is for our previous this thing.
Because we
delta.
Yeah. So, but our standard DTP also referring to the having the subscription for this source.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So all the subscription which will be there for that queue, everything will go to ODQ data. You're right. Okay, let's check the data quickly here.
But how long does it stay?
Again, depending on your reorganization will clean up by default. The delta will stay for 31 days. Initialization will take for 10 days, and error records will stay for 24 hours. That is a default, but you can change that, of course.
Thank you.
So we'll go to manage request. And because delta has a higher relevance than the initialization. So we'll quickly check the inbound table. I am not sure if I can touch upon CDS view today. Okay, so from 8, it became 5. Okay, and it will be U minus 1 plus 1. U minus 1 plus 1. Okay, so now we will quickly, sorry, what did I do? Okay, let me close everything so that I don't have any confusion. I'll go to last request, which will bring me to that again, DTP monitor, okay, with 2 records. And I will go to the manage request and activate it. Now here also, again, change request data is there, so I can change it if I want. So I'll just activate this request. So there's one request which is inactive. So I'll activate it. And then we'll check active data and change log. So yeah, activation successful, removal is successful for this particular request. Activation request is there. And now we'll go back and quickly check our change log. So I'll just filter it again. Yeah, it's creating twice. See, from 8 and then 5. So 8 was there and then minus image plus image of 8 and then before image and plus image of 5. Why is it doing twice?
So in active table, we'll have 8, 5.
Active
both,
table
right?
will have only 5. If I refresh it, active table will just have 5. That's not a problem. But change log, why is it creating another before image, after image of the same, and then it is creating by before image and after image for 5? Maybe, you know, RO cancel. RO cancel might be the problem, the root of the problem here. So let me check if RO cancel is mapped, because RO cancel is also mapped and record mode is also mapped. So RO cancel might not be mapped in this case. Yeah, RO cancel is not mapped. So record mode is getting calculated by the, yeah, that should work. No, not sure why it is creating 2 double entries there, which is strange. Actually, it should not create 2 double entries. I'll check that. Let me check that and get back to you. If you guys find out something, let me know. But I'll check and get back to you.
Devanshu, because there was no transformation mapping for RO cancel, would you expect that to have the X and blank values at all?
See, no, I don't expect it to be there.
Right.
If my record mode is already calculated by the ODP counters, then I don't expect RO cancel to be mapped. If RO cancel is mapped, then I don't expect the ODQ entity and the change mode to be mapped. One of them should be there as per my understanding, but let me, because see what's happening is record mode is after image, but RO cancel is X here. So that part I'm a bit concerned, because record mode blank means after image and RO cancel X it signifies before image. So why it's showing before image for the record mode which is after image? So there might be, I think the root cause is something to do with RO cancel and record mode in conjunction with this ODQ. So let's do one thing. Try to map RO cancel and remove the ODQ counter and the change mode and see whether it's working fine or not. And if it's working fine, then what we'll do is we will, but RO cancel is not there in the target. Target only has record mode. You know what? Probably. See, what's happening is, as this is my hypothesis, and we can check that. This is a standard data source. Okay, standard data source will have RO cancel, and RO cancel is actually supposed to identify the before image and after image for us. So what's happening, as per my understanding, what's happening is RO cancel of before image is being treated as a change, and that's why it is saying that the after image and before image, the value is the same, but because of the change of RO cancel, it is taking that also as a before image and after image. Did I confuse you? Okay. RO cancel is treated as a regular field. That's what my hypothesis is. If it is treated as a regular field, and if you put the value as X, and previously the value was before image, then X is a change of the value, and that is being identified as an after image. Before image is also X, after image is also X. Did you get my point? I think because standard extractor has RO cancel, and that is being treated as a regular field instead of a delta identifier field. It is treated as a regular field. That's why the ODP change mode and ODQ entity counter is identifying arrow cancel also as a change, and that's why it's doing twice this particular before image and after image.
Devanshu, isn't there a way that we can suppress this field directly in the data source?
Yeah, there is. So what we can do is we can hide that field. I don't know whether I'll get that option of hiding for that arrow cancel or not. Let's check. So in the fields, arrow cancel, you can deselect with for transfer. Okay. So if we deselect for transfer, let's activate this. Let's see. Anyways, it is not mapped to the target. So in the transformation also, it won't be a problem. We can just deselect this and activate the transformation and DTP again. The check did not return any errors. Object activated, fine. But the transformations will be set to inactive. So we have to make sure that the transformations are active. So we'll click on F5. F5 means refreshing. So when you refresh, you will see that the transformations are inactive. Let me go here and let me refresh it here as well. And the transformation is inactive, DTP is inactive. So let's activate the transformation. So we'll click on this. Anyways, the arrow cancel is not mapped. It is mapped to the ODQ change in entity counter. So we'll just hit Control F3 to activate. And then same thing with DTP. Now we'll change and see if the problem was with arrow cancel. I think the arrow cancel might be the problem.
Instead of changing the value in S4, I request you to delete the latest delta and
reload it again.
Make the, yeah. So that concept will also be covered.
Yeah,
so I had a question on it.
You're right. Let me activate the DTP also. Okay, so this DTP is now active. So yeah, instead of changing, you want me to delete that request. Yeah, if we have change log, so I think request wise deletion should be possible. So let me do that. Let me try to do that. So we'll go to manage. If you right click manage, that will also take you to the ADSO. And we have these requests. Okay, 550011 and this one. Let's see if we get the option to read. Yes. So here we will delete the request from the active table. Please remember, the active table request can be deleted only if you have change log. If you don't have change log, then you cannot revert the request. Request by deletion is not possible. Okay. So this one we will delete. Only because change log is there, it is able to identify the different changes. It can revert it to previous request, previous status. Okay, so change log indicator is removed. Change log indicator is also removed, and in the active table also it is deleted. So we are good now. So we'll go back to manage request. Okay, so now we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's check the value of the change log. We will hit this. Okay, so it's back to original status, which is 7778, and in the active table, let's check the active table. It should be what value? I think what was it? 8. Yeah, so the value has gone to 8. So now the value is deleted, and we will reload the data with the DTP. So it is delta.
Devanshu,
yeah.
ODQ mon, I have deleted the request. The subscriber base delta will be there, no?
Yeah. See, subscription is active.
Zip kind of icon inside for retaining the deltas. There on the zip next to the job button on the top.
Next to the job, where exactly?
On the top, on the top menu. Yeah, job.
Oh, this one. No. This will work for red request failed, not for successful request. This will not work for requests which are successfully sitting there. Okay. Even only when your delta request has failed in the source. See, delta request can fail at 2 points. One is the job in the source has failed. And the second part is job in the source succeeded, but your DTP failed in BW. So if your DTP failed, then you have to request from the DTP. If the job has failed here, then it will show you as red here. Then you can use that, not for the successful ones. Okay.
Okay. Repeat of delta.
Now we'll do repeat of delta from our BW system.
Yeah.
Because subscription is still active, only the delta request has been deleted. That's all. Okay. And now let me make sure the flow is active. So we'll click on F5. Okay, maybe I did not save. I did not save after activating it. So let me close this. Okay. I will go to data flow from here, right click, explore data flow. And then I will say below, in below I should see the transformation. Yeah. So the transformation is active. This transformation RSDS, LNVHS to our this, and DTP is also active. Okay. So now let's run the delta DTP. Execute in background. Execute and open monitor. So now it will again. Now let's check whether RO cancel was the problem or not. Again, it brought 2 records. Why? Because this is a repeat of the last delta. So it brought 2 records, which is already sitting there in ODQ data, ODQ data. And now let's check the value. We'll go to manage request. We will see. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit over time. Please bear with me. Unfortunately, CDS flow I could not start because of this ODQ concept, but it is very important for you to understand this ODQ in detail, how it works with delta, how it works with repeat, how it works with ODQ with change counter, so on and so forth. So we'll see the contents of inbound table. So we'll start the CDS view tomorrow. And then we have the 8 and 5 with our 1 and -1. Okay. And arrow cancel, anyways, we had hidden it. So it was basically not there. Okay. Now we will activate this request and let me go back. And let's activate. Want to continue to work? Yes. I hope that should solve the problem, but if not, then we'll have to see what is causing the double entries. So activation is successful, which is good. And then we'll go back to, this is my activated table. So now it should show 5. So let me refresh. Yeah, activated table got overwritten. Now, okay, change log at how many entries? 5 rows it has previously. Now let's see, this is the latest record. So I'll filter it again. No, it is still creating the double entries. It is still creating.
Devanshu, in the ODQ mon, I see there is subscription with 2 DTPs.
Yeah.
So is that the reason there are 2 data generating for both the subscriptions?
No, but subscription is specific to a DTP. So when we are running the delta, it is not going to take the data from this one. It is going to take the data from the initialization of this particular DTP only.
Okay.
Yeah, that should not. Okay, I'll check that. Why it is creating double entries, we have to check. Maybe there is something, some reason is there which we are missing.
Devanshu, one question.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
Do you have a break today?
I'll stop the main class recording, okay? And then we will start the post. I'm sorry, I could not give you a break during the class. So let me stop the recording, 1 second.